Hey, I'm Suzanne Caldeira with Guaranteed Rate. And who knows, maybe you were on Google searching for a real estate agent in Rhode Island or in Massachusetts. And hey, you've landed on my YouTube, or maybe we're connected on Facebook or LinkedIn. Today, I'm excited to get an opportunity to talk to Amanda Hannon from Hannon Realty Group. Solo woman-owned business, and excited to have her share a little bit of her journey and how she got here. So Amanda, thanks for saying yes. And
Yeah, thanks for having me.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to get right to it. I want to know, I mean, obviously I know your background from knowing you, but I would love to know, like, what got you to this, and what can you share with people of how did it start, where you got into real estate?
So it's kind of a long story. I always, from a young age, wanted to do something to make a difference. So I had followed the path of becoming a teacher. I had a bullying prevention organization, and I did a lot of work with schools and teaching. But my passion was also to educate. So I graduated from Rhode Island College, and I soon realized that teaching wasn't for me. Although my passion still was teaching and educating people and making a difference, I didn't like the lack of flexibility that I had. At the time, my grandmother was ill. She had later passed, and I couldn't take time off when I needed to be there for my family. And I'm very family oriented, so that really bothered me. So I decided to quit teaching, focus on my family at the time, with my grandmother being sick, and I just hated not doing anything. I needed to learn. I needed to keep on figuring out what I wanted to do as a career. So I went to real estate school. I loved architecture. I loved, of course, like I said, educating people, making a difference. So I figured, what better fit than to help people, educate them in one of their biggest purposes of their life. So I got my real estate license. I started off just doing rentals at a small boutique firm in Providence. And from there, I left and went to a bigger owned company. It wasn't a franchise, though. It was independently owned. And I really did well there. I reached top two, top three in the company every year that I was there. And then I just kind of hit a wall. I wanted to be able to give back to my community and not be so prevented by bosses. So I decided, I was looking into various other opportunities, and I said, you know what, let me just go for it. I opened Hannon Realty Group, and that's really what my business kind of stands for, is community outreach. And I give back more than half of my yearly income to organizations, especially first responders, things like that. Just because I'm blessed to have a great career that has really blossomed for me, but I feel like I need to also give back to the people who are the reason why I have the career I have.
I love how you tied everything together, and it's always been interesting when I learn like somebody's background, because in getting the opportunity to work with you and your clients, I do find that maybe this is your teaching background. It's the education piece that you bring to the table. And do you find that that people are happy about that, or that they bring that up to you?
Yes, definitely. I know when I purchased my house, I don't know how I would have been able to do it if I didn't have an agent or somebody being able to educate me through the process. Obviously, I knew what I was doing because I'm in the field. But I think knowing exactly what you're signing, exactly what's going to come next, this is what this means, things like that, I think it makes the process a little less stressful. I mean, buying a house will always be stressful. But the education portion is really my way of to personalize my service, and also to kind of give a different approach to the home buying experience, where you actually are getting educated on the process, not just, okay, this is what you do, this is the next step, just sign here type thing.
Talk to me a little bit about giving back, and why that's so important to you. How did that become important to you?
So, with my background being a teacher, teaching background, I have always said I want to give back to teachers, but then came along with, okay, I have veterans in my family. I have police officers in my family. I have firefighters in my family. So I really wanted to figure out a way that I could give back to all of them, because not for nothing, we wouldn't have our freedom if it wasn't for the veterans. We wouldn't have our freedom if it wasn't for police. We wouldn't be safe without police, fire, and where would we be without our teachers? So that's really a passion of mine, and I am a member of Homes for Heroes. So we give a percentage of our commission back to the veteran. It's completely, or the hero, completely free to use. It's actually almost 25% of our commission that they get in the form of a check after closing, just as a thank you for their service. In addition, we do fundraisers throughout the year. We do charity work, sponsorships, and we really try to give back any way we can, whether, even if it's not a hero community, whether it's Ronald McDonald House or St. Jude, or we try to do like awards for teachers that are doing really well or doing something that's exceptional, out of the ordinary, things like that.
What do you think has been the funniest real estate story that you can share, or something that just had you scratching your head going, oh my God?
The only thing that I can think of is your typical Rhode Island, story where I was doing a deal with a couple, and we ended up putting an offer on a house. They absolutely loved it. The sellers were great. And then as we kind of came to know the sellers and worked through things, we realized that the seller was actually related to the buyer, like 3 generations down. So they didn't realize it. But it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, only in Rhode Island do you hear this, like that they ended up knowing their whole family story. And so it was really nice too, because the client, the seller, was able to still connect with the buyer. That was their house for 40 something years.
Wow.
So it was emotional for them to leave, but they felt like they knew it was going to a good family. They knew that, if they missed it, they could just stop in and say, can I just take a little walk through? Because it was family.
You talk about the being family orientated, and knowing you and knowing how dear your family is to you.
Mm-hmm.
And speak to us about how you've made Hannon Realty Group a family affair.
So it wasn't the intention. When I was at my previous company, I had my dad working for me just as an assistant part-time. He was still working full-time, just because I needed, coverage for open houses and coverage for showings here and there. And I always like to be at every showing. So if I can't be there, at least he could be. So he became my assistant. And then I decided to open up my own firm in October of 2017. And August of 2017, my mom decided to retire. So she had retired. She had been retired for a couple months. And when I decided to open my firm, I needed an office manager. This is my business, it's my livelihood. So I needed somebody that I knew I could trust, that would be passionate about the brand as much as I am. So who better than your mom? So my mom is actually my office manager. So we collaborate a lot. We do our marketing together. It's a really great relationship. And then my dad has since retired from his full-time job, and he is a full-time agent now with us as well.
Oh, that's awesome. And speak to me about how you're so creative. Like, that's one of the things that I noticed about you, of how your ideas and how you're so innovative. How did that spark?
So I can't take all the credit. I definitely have my creative gene from my mom. She's very creative. She helps me with my marketing immensely, but I never stop learning. I'm always taking new classes, doing, webinars, and reading about the business and watching what other people are doing around the country that are really successful. And then I try to implement it here, but with my own little twist. So I try to take my passions and incorporate that into what's working for other people. And then of course, I think about this from morning till night. How can I, create the experience, make the experience better for my clients? And what can I do to reach more people? So I just, it's kind of like a trial and error. You try, and then some things are, okay, that works, and you just stick to it.
Have you found that there is a particular type of client that you're like, oh wow, you know what, this is my jam. This is who I love to work with. Is there a particular either type of client or situation that you enjoy the most?
So I love working with my heroes. My first responders, my teachers, medical professionals, they're all in that hero category. So it's medical professionals, military, police, fire, and EMS, and teachers. So I just, I couldn't do their job if you paid me $1 million. So I feel like this is my way to show my appreciation to them and all the sacrifices they make, especially in the middle of a pandemic. And then I love my first time buyers. A lot of agents don't enjoy first time buyers, but I think I am so passionate about my first time buyers because I like to educate. So they're very new at this. They don't typically know what they're doing. And I can kind of guide them. And I feel like I'm almost making a difference in their life because I'm guiding them to something that will be potentially their forever home, their biggest investment, things like that.
Talk to me about, when you're not thinking about real estate 24/7, what's your idea of the best way to relax or unwind?
So I love to travel, whether it's an overnight, a weekend getaway or an extended trip. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we've kind of been prevented from that. Spending time with family, with my dog Chloe. I have a little Shih Tzu that is always with me. So definitely spending time with them and just making. I'm really big about making memories and the experiences. So even with my clients, like I host various events throughout the year, not for any reason other than just to connect with them at a different level and catch up, have fun together, and kind of put myself in a different perspective as not their realtor. I try to become my client's friend or like their family member.
Yeah, I've noticed that about you, and I was fortunate when you had invited me to one of your events, and just watching your interaction with your clients. You could for sure see that you have deep connections with people, and it definitely shone through, Amanda. One of the things you've got to share is about your bug that's got Hannon Realty Group on it. What
Yeah.
started that?
So I was actually looking into getting a moving truck branded for my business, and the liability and just the hoops that I would have to jump through were just a little too risky for my personality. So I had actually always wanted a Volkswagen Bug, but I mean, it's not a practical car at all. But so I said, you know what? Why don't I get my Bug? I'll brand it. We'll do parades and events and, just drive around. It's like a fun little kind of like mobile billboard. So we put that in various parades throughout the year and community events and trunk or treats and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome. That really is. Hey, thanks so much for spending the time with me today. And
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. For anyone that's looking for a realtor in Massachusetts or in Rhode Island, definitely consider Amanda Hannon. All of her information will be on this video. Like, subscribe, share to my YouTube page. Thank you.